Okay, so this is a weird video to do. So yesterday morning, I got up and I don't sleep because I'm a target, okay? I'm a target. Someone I'm connected to in my family is targeting me, and they obviously have a position that allows them that pleasure to take me out, basically, because I think they're getting ready to take me out. I don't know what else to say. Um, Yesterday at about 4 in the morning, I was outside. There was a girl walking up the way. There was a guy that kept following her. So I, as a precautionary measure, stayed in the area just in case something happened so I could either help her or call the police or something, right? She kept trying to walk away from him and he kept calling her. He finally caught up to her up the stairs um, on one of the roads out here. And he didn't do anything to her. He was calm and he was cool, and he was collected, and he was quiet, and he did his thing. And I guarantee you this man was hired to come specifically after me because I am discovering that I do have a connection to the Epstein files. Don't ask me how. I have a connection to Scientology. Don't ask me how. I am finding out that Scientology has been in my life for a very long time. Like they were in my life in Minnesota, but they were secretly in my life. This is the weird thing that I'm wondering about. I have like a shit ton of names that are all Scientologists from Minnesota that I can name right now. But I'm finding out none of them told me they were Scientologists. So why are Scientologists secretly in my life? And why am I finding out that my grandfather Mariano Rodriguez, back in the day when he was growing up, was one of the most prolific, up and coming Hawaiian musicians. He was very good at his job. He could do the whole thing without anybody's help. He was that kind of guy. He could do every single instrument individually while recording on a reel to reel. He could do every chorus individually, every line, everything, and make it sound like the most beautiful album you've ever heard in your life. And he did it himself, sitting in his bedroom by the door where the bed is, cramped up on a TV dinner tray because some asshole from Hollywood came down and asked my grandfather, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers was the number one proliferer of pornography at the beginning of the internet. When the internet came on, Warner Brothers was the number one porn people. Okay, you need to watch out for Warner Brothers, and I'm going to tell you because I believe that they targeted me and my grandfather and his whole entire family because he turned Hollywood down. And this is that Freemason choice that they're always talking about, where you can choose money or you can choose caring for your friend or visiting your dying mother. And if you choose caring for a friend and visiting your dying mother, they will target you until the end of your days every time you make a right choice. Don't ask me why. This is the weirdest thing I am finding out because they're going around telling people all kinds of lies about me. I'm going to tell you right now, I am an honest person. The only time I will tell a lie is if I feel threatened or if I'm scared. And I have good reason for that because I am a highly trafficked and severely sexually traumatized person from my childhood in Florida. My whole entire childhood was filled with grown-ass men from the flea market that were with Scientology and knew somebody that I know, that I'm connected to. They definitely had to be a part of that because one of the guys from Scientology, he was going around giving a bunch of girls these necklaces. They were like blues, cubic zirconia heart necklaces, and he was just throwing them around like he was treating me like I was his girlfriend or something, and I didn't even know who the guy was. I'm like looking at the guy going, who the hell are you? And he's like throwing me these necklaces, acting like he's my boyfriend. And then I found out that, so I'm like, I take this necklace and I go off, and I'm like, why is this guy giving me this necklace? I didn't like the guy anyway, so I knew I wasn't dating him. He may have had sex with me after drugging me, but that I won't know that because I'd be drugged and I'd be passed out, and they clean themselves up before they wake you up, or you wake up at some other location like your house, not knowing how you got there. Not fun. I was abused my entire childhood. The only act of sex I know is violence. I don't want sex. There's some guy talking about doing a process, and all he keeps doing is violating me sexually. They put implants, physical implants, real implants inside my body. I was supposed to be getting some sort of specialized therapy from my doctor, William Sid Young Jr. at St. George TMS. He said that he had come up with a customized, specialized therapy just for me. And you know what I've been doing since that stupid therapy? I almost killed myself twice. Twice. One time, I did it with the expectation to not wake up. That was in October of last year. If this is that therapy, that should have ended right then and there. I don't know whose therapy this is. If this is my TMS doctor in St. George still giving me therapy, he needs to explain why I had to put up with a 3-hour play around me about polyamory. I'm not interested in polyamory. Why would somebody take a trauma victim and then parade polyamory around them? And if I told you what they did, you would go, oh my God, that's weird, right? Like they had planned all day this whole skit about polyamory. Every corner, there was these two girls. They were the main culprits, the two girls. One short, one a little short and stout, and then another one a little taller, both with blondish hair. And they literally spent the entire day making a play up so that everywhere I went, they were talking about polyamory. And I'm not interested in that. I hate polyamory because polyamory just says you're not the one. It says you're not the one. You're not special enough. Maybe I'll do something with somebody permanently as a commitment, but it's not going to be you because I need another partner when I'm with you. That's not a good guy or a good girl. That's just a horny person that wants extra. Stop buying into their stupid crap. It's dumb, it's stupid, and unnecessary. And they're full of crap. They just want to be sexual. And they want to talk everybody else into being sexual. I'm not a sexual person because I spent my entire life having sex offenders being sent to my home in Florida as a little girl. I just found that out. Every single man that's ever been in my life has been a sex offender. Like somebody's purposely sending sex offenders to me. Like the cops have a list of sex offenders and they're just putting people like me on the list that they don't like. Because I am never going to be safe again. I had a sex offender, Trevor Collins, look him up, St. George, Utah, released December 2019. That man was sitting in Sunflower, and he lives there, by the way, with his mother, and he has 5 different cars. And they're all different colors. And the one car I caught him in was a white Camry behind the mailboxes, which were right by my house. And he was videotaping my house. He is a rapist that was released December of 2019, living in the development where I was living. I then had another time I drove around the neighborhood and because something told me something was up, and I found a house where there was at least 5 to 7 cars, all people who were targeting me, meeting at one house in a cul-de-sac. Right next to that cul-de-sac were 2 other houses where I noticed cars, and those 2 houses both had sex offenders in them, and both of those cars had followed me on a regular basis while in St. George. This is who these people are that you are helping. They are lying to you about me. I don't know what they're telling everybody that is so convincing, but they are lying. I'm not a thief. I'm not going to steal your money. I'm not a thief. I've been blamed for shit that I never did a constant lot. But I promise you, I'm not a thief. I'm not out to steal anything from anybody. I really am not. There's a story behind that, by the way. And I'm not polyamorous. I don't like more than one partner. I am straight 100% heterosexual. The only reason I support the LGBT community is because they are marginalized like me. They are targeted like me. Somebody set me up to be a target in 1991 because I had an assignment change from Biloxi, Mississippi, the #1 Air Force human sex trafficking site at the time. So maybe that's why they were a little bit upset, because they thought they had a prostitute, but they didn't take the time to find the truth, you stupid idiots. I have never been a prostitute. I have never been a prostitute. Let that sink the fuck in. You thought you were coming after a prostitute, and I have never been a prostitute. I have never been a prostitute. I'm not polyamorous. I don't like more than one partner. I don't want two guys. I don't want black. I don't white. I don't want any. I want nobody. Nobody. I've never known anything other than violent sex acts against me, and men who deceive me and want to hurt me and punish me for every little thing. And I do not know what the hell is going on. I haven't been talking. I've been sitting in my living room trying to give myself therapy, because whatever this therapy was supposed to be, I don't know what happened to it. Because I have actually committed suicide at least once during this, whatever it is, therapy, which they call the process. I've also been sexually violated by implants physically installed in my body. I had a hidden camera in my house. In this hidden camera, I did not expect to see anything. Imagine my surprise when I wake up and I see two guys throwing me on the sofa as I'm passed out and my body is flailing and bouncing on the sofa. I was a little upset. I went to the ER to get a rape kit. They wouldn't give it to me. The ER said no. At the IHC said no. Dr. Gibbons. I asked him for a drug test. He said no. I had to wait almost 2 or 3 hours before they actually gave me what I asked for, which means they had to have a time frame to make sure if they did a drug test, the drug didn't come out. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know what went on at the IHC. I know that whole thing at the IHC, November 14th, 16th, somewhere, November 2021, 2022, 2020, somewhere around there. I think it was 2021, November 2021, when I went to get a rape kit. And the very first thing the doctor said to me was no. He didn't even wait to hear my story. He said no. I said, I want a rape kit. He said no. And then he made me separate from my son for 2 hours just to get them to do a drug test and an MRI. And I think they turned off some of the equipment on the CAT scan. I think they turned off some of the equipment on the CAT scan. So I'm a little pissed off right now, because I don't know if this was that therapy from TMS Therapy, TMS Premier Therapy in St. George, Utah. They're really shitty therapy, man. Because I'm worse now than I was when I walked into that office. I've been sexually violated multiple times. I've been psychologically tortured multiple times. In fact, I am constantly psychologically tortured every single day. I've been prevented from getting help at the VA. I called and complained at the VA and talked about this implants in my body and being sexually violated, and then the girl started laughing as if it was funny. It's not funny. I really was severely sexually traumatized as a child, and it's like Scientology went in and accosted my doctor and took over. I am not a Scientologist. I have never been a Scientologist, and I was able to get therapy up until they went in and accosted my doctor my whole life. So if some asshole is going to try to pull off some scenario about, oh, she's been a Scientologist her whole life and she didn't know it, they're full of shit. First of all, I'd have perfect teeth. Second of all, I've had every single psychological test you could possibly think of.